conservatives, yes, Republicans are debating that empathy may actually be sinful. Put it up for a man. Man, these people will sell their mama.
For real.
Conservatives are now debating whether or not empathy is a sin. Empathy is defined as the ability to understand and to share the feeling or feelings of another. But some on the far right are arguing that it has become a vice, sin, to do so. One conservative author says, quote, empathy becomes toxic when it encourages you to affirm sin, validate lies, or support destructive policies. Said Ali Beth Stuckey, author of Toxic Empathy. Toxic Empathy. How progressives exploit Christian compassion. Stuckey, host of the popular podcast Relatable, is one of two evangelicals who published books within the past year making Christian arguments against some forms of empathy. Here we go. Bring out the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Yes, you all have been around for a long time. I've been waiting for your reemergence. You see, it is the same ideology when the Christ, Yeshua, Jesus, when he was preaching to the multitude and he perceived they were hungry. So he stopped preaching and did what? Fed them. Fed over 5,000 men, women, and children. So what did he do? He opened up a soup kitchen. What did he have to stop doing to open up that soup kitchen? He had to stop preaching because nobody gives a damn how much you know until they know how much you care. And if the Christ himself was stop preaching, which I would argue he's a better preacher than all of you combined, he stopped preaching to meet their socioeconomic need rather than give them a lecture or a sermon. I'm sure you would have said, well, that's just toxic empathy. These individuals need to work. They need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. How about the Good Samaritan? How about that parable when the Christ talked about there's a man who was robbed, was harmed, who had nothing. Two people passed him that were supposed to help him, a Levite and a priest. Well, a Levite is studying to be a priest. But two godly men, alleged godly men, passed him. But a Samaritan, who back then, by custom, could not have any relationship with a Jew, took the Jewish man who was robbed. The Good Samaritan is the stranger who helped the man. The understanding of the parable is that the man who was robbed happened to be Jew, and two Jews passed him. Who's your neighbor? The man who helped you. The man who had empathy for you is your neighbor. Here's what's common in every parable. Nobody asked, how did you get in this position? You don't have a job. Not one time were these things contextualized in the scripture. What was important? Your response to need. You saw someone in need and you helped. That's it. So you all can continue to write your books about toxic empathy and everything else. You all are the current Pharisees of this time, where you believe more in your religious order than in the order of doing people right. The other, Joe Rigney, a professor and pastor who wrote, quote, The Sin of Empathy, Compassion and Its Counterfeits. It was published by Canon Press, an affiliate of Rigney's conservative denomination, which counts Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth among its members. These anti-empathy arguments gained traction in the early months of Donald Trump's presidency's second term, with his flurry of executive orders that critics denounced as lacking empathy. As foreign aid stopped and more deportations began, Trump's then advisor Elon Musk told podcaster Joe Rogan, quote, the fundamental weakness of Western civilization is empathy. You know, that sounds like something Satan would say. if you believe in such things. There's more. Even Vice President J.D. Vance, a Catholic convert, framed the idea in his own religious terms, invoking the concept of ordo amoris. It's called order of love. Within concentric circles of importance, he argued the immediate family comes first and the wider world last, an interpretation that then Pope Francis rejected. You know who else rejected it? The same man you claim to follow, sir. Told his disciples, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was naked, you clothed me. Disciples said, we never did that to you. You got somebody else. He says, no, when you did it to the least of these, to the people that other people disregard, you did it also unto me. He was connecting what we do for one, we do for all. And when we judge one, we judge ourselves. Judge not, ye should not be judged. For the same measure that you use to judge one, that same measure will be used to judge you. So as you go around preaching your gospel of non-empathy, remember that that gospel of non-empathy is only measuring yourself. All right. Jackson, thoughts here?
It just, how simple-minded of an assessment of empathy is this really?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, this is just projection. You're just letting people know how you view things and how I don't want to care about anybody else. It's such a burden. It's just, such a waste of time thinking about other people. That can only come from a place of bitterness and insecurity and fear of others. But it is just stupid. I mean, the whole gospel, the whole New Testament is about empathy, love, compassion. Jesus was best friends with prostitutes. Defying the cultural norms is,
Right.
it's not like you don't have to read between the lines to find these things. It's not really ambiguous at all. That's what Jesus was all about. Whether you're religious or not, that's what the message of Jesus is all about. So I mean, it's just like there's really nothing to argue here. This is just you're wrong. You're wrong.
Right.
It's a sin to have empathy for people. I mean, without empathy, the human species wouldn't be able to exist.
That's right.
As intricately complex and connected as the world is, and as we are as social beings, what are you talking about? It's just incredibly ridiculous and simple-minded.
Every enlightened leader, from Buddha to Yahshua to King, all enlightened leaders had one thing in common. They cared about the whole of humanity. The whole of humanity. Whatever their quirks may have been, they cared about the whole of humanity. That is a common trait among enlightened human beings.